Hi everyone, it's Jasmine. On today's episode of The Slain Project, I will be talking about the murder of Lisa Ahenakew. She was set ablaze by her boyfriend back in July of 1992. Also, if you would like to watch more videos of missing and murdered Indigenous people, please consider subscribing to my channel. Let's get right into it. Lisa Ahenakew was born on July 16, 1966, to Melvin and Della Ahenakew. They were Chippewa Cree and lived in Great Falls, Montana. Lisa's mother, Della, was born and raised in Hill 57 in the year 1942. This was a community for the poverty-stricken Cree, Métis, and Ojibwe, also known as Chippewa, on the outskirts of Great Falls. Some were from the Rocky Boy Reservation, others were from Canada, and some were from the Little Shell tribe. The accommodations were meager here. People lived in shack-type homes, tents, and some even lived in their cars. Missionaries used to visit the settlement to deliver donated food and help some residents learn to read. They also documented that some households had lead poisoning. When the Nation Defense Authorization Act was passed in December 2019, the Little Shell tribe was able to gain federal recognition status. They purchased Hill 57 and surrounding area and now use the area to raise cattle and grow wheat. This food sovereignty program now allows them to provide food for their tribal members. People no longer stay at Hill 57. The Ahenakews were a large family. Lisa had 7 sisters and 3 brothers. Melvin, Della, and their children would eventually move to Spokane, Washington in October 1979. Lisa would be 13 years old at the time of this move. Spokane is the largest city between Minneapolis and Seattle. A lot of different tribal members from various tribes have relocated to this area looking for better opportunity. Lisa's family have described her as a friendly, shy, smart, and loner type of person. She always went off by herself and did her own thing. In her mid-20s, she would eventually meet a man by the name of Jose Cirino, who was 39 years old. He was not a good man and would often beat Lisa. Her described personality would make her more at risk being around a man like Jose. He was able to gain control over her and influence her life. Lisa was homeless and unemployed. Her mother lived a few blocks from Jose in an area known as Brown's Addition. She would stay there sometimes or with other family and friends. A lot of people cared about her and she had no trouble finding a place to sleep or eat. In the early morning of July 8, 1992, Lisa was at Jose's apartment and they were huffing gas from a milk jug. Neighbors have stated that they seen her leave his apartment the previous day with a large cut above her eye. She would eventually go back to his place where they would argue again. Reports on the exact time vary, but at some time between 6 and 6:30 a.m., a neighbor by the name of Frank Harrell heard Lisa yell "no" a couple times outside of the apartment complex. When he looked out his window, he seen Lisa engulfed in flames and Jose running away. Frank immediately grabbed a blanket and went out to get the flames off Lisa. He fumbled with the doorknob a bit because he was in such a frantic situation. He covered Lisa and she began to roll on the ground. Frank ran back into the house and called 911. When he came back and peered inside the blanket, flames shot outward towards him. At about this time, Jose came back with a bucket of water and they were able to finally extinguish the fire. While medics worked on Lisa, she sobbed and pointed at Jose. While at the hospital, doctors determined Lisa was burnt on 40% of her body, and the torso and arms were the areas most burnt. Breathing in the hot air and fumes, severely damaged her lungs. She was flown from Spokane to Seattle's Harborview Medical Center. Here she would be able to get the best care possible at their burn center. Investigators began questioning Jose immediately. He said that Lisa doused herself with gasoline and a spark from his cigarette lit her on fire. He also stated he was drunk at the time of this tragic event. Burnt matches found at the scene matched up with a matchbook found in Jose's apartment. Jose was arrested the next day on July 9th, 1992. He was charged with first-degree assault. Lisa was at Harborview and was in a coma. She woke up one time in a month just for a few moments. She fought hard and hung on for as long as she could. Lisa died on August 7th, 1992 at the age of 26. Her family was deeply saddened but were grateful that she was no longer suffering. She was brought home to Great Falls and buried at the Mount Olivet Cemetery. Jose's charges were bumped up to second-degree murder. As the legal process progressed, Jose's charges were pleaded down to first-degree manslaughter for the violent and horrific death of Lisa Ahenakew. He was sentenced to 7 years and 6 months. As a part of his deal, he was to be eligible for parole after 5 years. He was eventually released and approved to move to New Jersey after only serving 4 years and 2 days. The legal process angers me so much sometimes. Justice never prevails in some cases. To me, it sounds like maybe Lisa was going to leave Jose for good, and he made sure that she would never leave him. Sort of like, if I can't have you, nobody can. I personally believe she was leaving after an altercation with him, and he chased after her with the gas can and matches. I know back in the day, law enforcement didn't take domestic violence as serious as they do now. With the conviction for first-degree manslaughter, it seems as if they believed his story about this being an accident and Lisa dousing herself with the gas. Even though the neighbor reported she was yelling no, as in stop, don't do it. Inhalants are an often overlooked area when it comes to speaking about the drug problems that plague the native population. On many reservations in the U.S. and Canada, inhalants are often abused. Some use gas, others use spray paint. I have also heard stories of young children trapping exhaust fumes in paper bags. It is an easy and cheap way to get high. Many who abuse inhalants are still very young. They are damaging their brains while it is still developing. But unfortunately, they use this as a way for them to feel escape from their life troubles. I am deeply saddened that Lisa saw her own death coming. I am sure Lisa knew she needed to change her life when she was lying in the driveway crying, but she never recovered. Lisa never got a chance to turn her life around. It was too late for her. The sentence Jose received was disgusting. It is sending a message that it is okay to hurt Indigenous women without any real consequences. I can only hope that he never went on to hurt or kill any other women. I am going to leave a link in the description box for the National Domestic Violence Hotline for the U.S. Their website has great education on domestic violence. They have options to call, text, or live chat with a trusted domestic violence advocate. The website is www.thehotline.org. There is also a section for Native Americans under the Get Help tab. Survivors, family, and friends can contact them if they have concerns about a loved one. The site works just like the National Domestic Violence site. The website is strongheartshelpline.org. For Canada, I believe The website is endingviolencecanada.org. All of these will be linked in the description box down below. If you are seeking help for yourself or a loved one, please do not hesitate to reach out to one of these great resources. The websites will help you identify if you or a loved one is experiencing domestic violence. They will direct you where to go for help. If you are in need of immediate assistance, please call 911. Even if you have a cell phone that does not have service, 911 can still be dialed out on the phone. And even if you cannot talk, you can still call 911 and they can more than likely trace your location. Please keep Lisa and all the others who have experienced and are currently experiencing domestic violence in your thoughts and prayers. That's all I have for today's video. I do these videos so that these victims are not forgotten. So if you do have any memories of Lisa, please leave them in the comment section. And I will see you next time.